Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Homebrew Wednesday with Mike. Today we're going to be talking about dry hopping because I've done a small experiment with one of the IPA that I've been trying to perfect for a while now. A while back I did a dry hopping experiment that I believe I talked to you guys about, where I took 4 different carboys and I put a certain amount of dry hop into each one. And a certain amount of the hops, not dry hop, well, same thing. And I did a group blind tasting, and I selected what was the most preferred out of all those beers, and I decided to go forward with that amount and then play around with the yeast. Obviously, it's a little bit, I guess it'll be more of a controversial way of doing it just because the yeast will actually change a lot of the beer, but I really wanted to know how much I wanted to dry hop with before I started to go down to the nitty-gritty details. I know I use American ale strains for this particular IPA, as I'm trying to perfect a really nice American IPA. And the dry hop level now is pretty damn good. I actually changed it from 100% of one hop to a 50-50 split between 2 American hops. And this particular brew is fermented with US 05, and it's produced this dark orange-like color, opaque right now, very cold. Again, it's been in this keg has been in the fridge for 1 week now. It's going to be there for about 6 more days before I have another group blind tasting test, and it's got a really nice appearance. Not too carbonated at all. Just enough to be refreshing. I might actually carbonate it just a little bit more for my tasting. Seems to be a tad undercarbonated actually, but it's got a great creaminess to it. A really nice fermentation was created, a great lacing type head. The point of this video is really to talk about dry hop. While I'm talking about this beer, I'm definitely going to play around with the grain bill and possibly adjunct, because I don't find that that's perfected. Other aspects of the beer it's very close, but it still needs tweaking. The aroma, however, is really spectacular. It's really something. I mean, again, this is dry hop, so this needs to be consumed fresh, but wow. It really tastes like you're biting into one of the ripest grapefruits you ever had. And what I really wanted to talk about today is, again, the subject of dry hopping, is that I was a huge believer of, making smash beers, and that's a good starting point, which I really believe it is. But after dry hopping more and going from, like an unexperienced dry hopper to, I wouldn't say experienced, but it's definitely an intermediate to advanced dry hopper, I can say that mixing hops will create a much more round flavor. I found that when you put only one hop in excessive or even limited quantities, you kind of get a type of saturation, and you get a lot of, not off flavors from the hop, but you get a lot of its like grassy, oily, and just basic like ground earthy flavors. And I mean, again, it comes more to hops that aren't in the citrus family, that aren't in the floral family, that aren't in piney, that aren't in spicy. I mean, obviously you're gonna get a lot of earthy, but no matter which one I've used, I've always found that when you just put one hop in its simplicity, I feel like you don't get as much of a round character. So you know what? I'm gonna change any statements that I've made in the past that I say that, use one hop all the time. It's a great starting point. It's really going to help you learn. But after doing this one, after doing the last ones, I really find that, 2, 3, 4, whatever you want to do, still keeping it simple. I'm not talking about adding a different hop every 3 days for an 18-day schedule, or whatever you want to do. I'm talking about like one single dry hop period, add it at the beginning, let it sit, but a mix. Let all the flavors meld together. Well, I've only done some with similar characteristics. I've never done one with diverse characteristics. I don't know what that would do. Maybe it'd be good, maybe it'd be bad. It would probably take some planning as to which ones to actually put together. But this particular one, and I still get I still get a certain amount of like that saturated hop in here, but I know which hop it is. Unfortunately, I bought a couple of packs of a hop that I'm not really a big, well, I love the hop itself, but I bought from Yakima Valley some hops that were just, honestly, they were very half-ass, and I was very disappointed. I bought 3 pounds of it, which was pricey for what it was, and it just really wasn't an optimal hop of that style. So I'm gonna buy hops in smaller quantities now, keep it fresh, or unless I plan to, brew a shit ton, then I'm gonna keep it on the low. That way I don't have to run into any more errors or roadblocks. My goal with this IPA is to create an IPA that non-IPA drinkers will also really enjoy. And I mean, it's quite a difficult goal to attain, but I'm working on it, and I really think that this particular beer, again, I'm playing with everything, is on its way to becoming something. I know I'm being very general with all my statements, that just because before I say anything, I really want to get it down to a perfect T. I've also found that kegging IPAs, the result of like the flavor is so much more fresh than if I bottle it. Bottling, I still find that I'm not an expert in. It creates a great beer, but I find that just the type of carbonation, I think I really need to change my type of sugar that I'm using, because I've been using really just table sugar for a while now, and I find that it's just, not everything's over-carbonated, but I don't like the size of the bubbles. The bubbles are just too large, and I want to start avoiding that. So I'm going to have to look into the actual science behind the different priming sugars and how they affect the brew, how they affect the bottled beer in terms of carbonation level itself. But I mean, keg, it's so hard to beat keg beer. It's just really, really hard to beat. Personally, now I find it very difficult to go back. I still love bottling, because if I enter a competition, I gotta bottle my beer. But it's very difficult to compare one to the other. Oh man. No, it's very nice beer. I mean, look, this is a simple grain bill. It's actually, to be completely honest, this is a single grain beer. And you can see that type of lacing, which is pretty awesome. This one fermented for 3 weeks, I think. No, more than 3 weeks. It's fermented for a long time, just the grain, and then I dry hopped for a period of 7 days. And yeah, I wouldn't dry hop more than that right now, unless I change the additions over more sporadically over the time period. But yeah, this is a great beer. Anyone who hasn't tried dry hopping, I really suggest not being afraid to do so. It's great fun. If you have access to leaves, I would say to use fresh hops, leaves, dried leaves, frozen leaves, whatever, over pellets. Just because if you're a fan of appearance, which I'm becoming like a much bigger fanatic as time goes by, then it's very hard to get a clear beer, although it doesn't really matter, again, as a home brewer. I mean, even now as a professional brewer, but I love to have a nice clear beer. It's very hard to do so with pellets, unless you have some kind of filtering mechanism. I just basically use mesh to catch as much of the large hop particle as possible. However, besides that, I would just suggest dry hopping. It's great fun. Like I said, mix your hops. Whether you're gonna do, I really want to get my hands on some Galaxy now that I'm thinking of it. I haven't done that. I haven't actually done that many. I haven't ever used Galaxy, Warrior, Amarillo, Galena. Pretty sure that's how you pronounce that one. A lot of those big popular hops in the U.S. I just haven't used. Cascade Centennial I've used. Citra, Simcoe. I mean, I can name you. So those are the dry hopped ones I use. Hallertau I did dry hop a little bit. That was because I had them for my backyard and they were fresh hops, and I still actually have a fucking big bag like this, and my hop plants are growing like crazy right now. So I'm gonna try to actually isolate all my Cascade to do a really nice dry hop Cascade at the end of the season. And yeah, they're getting out of control. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I'll try to get some pictures and post to you guys soon about the hop plants. It's pretty crazy. They're growing, I don't know, maybe 18 inches a day in the heat we're getting now in Montreal. So it's pretty intense. They're already like 8-9 feet, and we're only in May. So we're going to have a good time. Just because I pick in August or September, I don't know where the hell those things are going to go. Up, up, and away. Thanks for watching. This is Mike, Beer Addict. It's been a pleasure. Subscribe, share the video. I like our chit chats, and I hope you enjoy it too. See you later.